People have realized that being around you is quite the experience because you're somebody who attracts a lot to yourself and you have a lot of good luck. People that are around you sometimes benefit off of that as well. They've noticed that when you come around, they make more money, they have more resources, they end up building new connections, or they just have better luck in general. People have realized that when they're around you, they don't feel depression or whatever trauma that they have. It's almost like it becomes non-existent when you're around. You're a natural healer, and being in your presence can get rid of almost any mental illness. And so people take your presence for granted. They love having you around because it's always a good time. You neutralize the energy. People that are usually rowdy and out of control, for some reason, they become well behaved in your presence. So they like being in your energy, but they also don't like what comes up. And what comes up is that the truth about people tends to be revealed when you are around. People's jealousy tends to be exposed when they're around you because they can't help themselves with the backhanded comments and the jokes disguised in insults. So people literally show themselves when they're in your presence because they become threatened by your frequency, the fact that you just generate all of this good energy and good vibes. People that are freeloaders definitely get exposed in your vibration. And so other people tend to see these freeloaders for who they are. But if they weren't around you, it's almost like that glamour would have been continued on. So you're the type of person that breaks glamour magic, especially with people who try to present themselves a certain way. As soon as you walk into the room, it's like the spell breaks or some energy of that sort. You also bring in invisible labor. So people start to realize just how like lazy other people are and how they literally do nothing or bring little to nothing to the table. So you expose people that ride on others' coattail to success. So if you're in a group setting and someone's not pulling their weight, as soon as you come around, that becomes very apparent. And so you bring a lot of conflict sometimes and drama into environments just by having your presence there. It starts a lot of arguments and a lot of fighting, and sometimes that gets projected onto you. I mean, yes, you are creating a rift, but that rift is there to expose people for who they pretend to be and for who they're not. And so you're the type of vibration that brings judgment into people that are around you. And so people get stressed when they know you're going to come around because it's like, I have to act right because the viewer's going to see me for who I am. Or some people are even afraid of the way that you speak and your throat chakra because you are so blunt and upfront and you don't hide things and you're very transparent. People that are not used to that and they're used to people performing and masking, they get caught off guard 100%, especially when you tell people exactly how you feel about them. It makes them feel some type of way because it's like nobody else has the guts to tell me that at all. You also do not have a savior complex. You're not out here trying to save people, so you do not take on other people's karma for them. If you know someone's being a bad influence or they're behaving improperly, like you will tell them upfront to their face and also let them know that you're not taking on any invisible labor. You let people carry their own weight, and they're not used to that. You're the type of energy that holds people accountable. And so when they're in your vibration, they feel held accountable. They feel very seen. This is like seraphim, angel type of energy. So people feel like you have eyes in the walls or that they're on heavy surveillance when you're around. They feel like they're under a microscope and that they have to behave or else they're going to be embarrassed in front of everyone. So sometimes people feel ashamed in your presence because usually the things that they can get away with society, when they're around you, you call them out. You're quick to call people out, and it is always the truth, and it's sometimes blunt. And people that are not used to that, like I said, they get rubbed off the wrong way. They get very triggered. You also are the type of person that can identify as stressors in people's lives. And so if there's conflict in the environment with the group, you are quick to identify what that issue is and speak up and not gossip and bring it to the table. So there is no elephant in the room when you're in the room. The elephant is you, because you tell it exactly how it is. You teach people that their thought processes could use some adjustments. You show people how they actually have options available to them and that they're restricting themselves due to their thought process. So when they're around you, everything is a blessing. The lesson is a blessing. The fact that they're reaping benefits is a blessing. And also once people start to realize that like the good vibes is attached to you, they may even try to like take your energy or use you in some type of way. So I'm not worried about you not seeing it because you're the emperor or the empress. You can obviously see it. But I just want to let you know that your presence is a gift. And the gift that you give people is sometimes breaking them from mental prisons, from things that keep them trapped. You show people where they need to work on themselves. So that's obviously why the jealousy comes up into the mix when you're around. I also feel like whatever gender you are, you usually get people that are in your gender that tag team you or try to leave you out. This is like mean girl energy. If you're a guy, this is just like masculine energies trying to team up on you because they know that you're like the omega and that you'd feel some type of way, even though you're a lone wolf and you're comfortable in your own skin and you are the blueprint. So sometimes your presence brings stress to people in ways that they do not see coming, but that's an opportunity for them to learn. I also feel like a lot of people that tend to be in their ego and they think they're all high and mighty, when you come around, they end up falling from grace. People that are used to like pulling the wool on other people's eyes cannot do that when you're around because your energy naturally calls them out. So people know that you're one of them ones that you just don't play around with. You're one of those ones that's not afraid to speak up and tell your opinion and tell people where you think there should be adjustments and give people a piece of your mind. You're not afraid because you're like, I don't care what people think of me. I think highly of myself in general. And so that energy is emanated unto others. And so those that are not secure within themselves naturally feel weird when they're around you.